spaces. Non-breaking spaces are the only item that will pull through into an EPUB from InDesign, and as such, they are an important tool in your development tool chest. Use these to glue the last two words together of a paragraph together to avoid widows, for example, or to keep things on a line that you want to stay on the same line. So let's have a look at what the heck I'm talking about here. Okay. This chapter has been edited so that there's one small word at the end of one line and a longer word at the end of the next. The editor wants me to keep two nirvana together. So in general, the typesetting practice is to put a shift return in there or a soft paragraph break. I generally avoid those and only use those with intention, as here after the words chapter 1. In order to move TO down to the line with nirvana, the best way to do that is to insert a non-breaking space. A non-breaking space is what it sounds like. It is a space that will not break. So this is where you get them from. It's from type. Let me do that again. Type, insert white space, and then non-breaking space. All of these other spaces will go completely missing. M, N, hair, sixth. As I said in the video before, these do not convert to EPUB at all. The only one that is preserved in EPUB is a non-breaking space. So it's a Command-Shift-X, or you can navigate up here to get this non-breaking space. So when I insert that in this title line, you'll see what happens is that I'm saying do not break at this spot, but preserve the space. So it moves TO down to the next line. So I can use non-breaking spaces strategically to manage how things look and how they function without getting in the way of accessibility. A shift return before the word TO will mean that in some reading systems where that line, where the screen width is much narrower, that TO will always be stuck together with nirvana, even if the screen width is smaller than the width of TO space nirvana. So you need to be cautious about how you do those things. Never put in a shift return when a non-breaking space will do the trick. I actually avoid them almost entirely and only use them with intention, like here. So let's have a look at what this looks like in text. A lot of editors that I've met in my life will want June 15th to stay together on the same line. And a lot of typesetters will do the simple thing of just inserting a shift return there to move June down to the next line. But now this line will always break at Mrs. Darling because that shift return also gets preserved in the ebook. It's gonna cause trouble later on down the line. So instead of inserting a shift return, I'm going to go in between June and 15th, and I've highlighted the space in there, and I'm now inserting a non-breaking space. So see that little blue caret? That's the invisible for a non-breaking space, and it's keeping it in there. Now, InDesign has done something unusual and moved Darling down. So it's rerun that paragraph in order to accommodate June and 1.5 staying together. So it's rerun the paragraph. That's a InDesign paragraph composer thing. It's a little bit out of scope for what we're talking about today. So that's a noticeable thing that happened. If I go back in and put that empty word space in, it reruns the paragraph. Inserting a non-breaking space means that it does things that I wouldn't have anticipated, but that's life. That doesn't matter for the ebook. It may matter for the print book. You may not want these lines above to look so gappy or spacious, but regardless, that's the trick you want to use. If you really want Darling back, you can use some tracking to get that back and to just have that line. So it's working in unpredictable ways here. Anyway. I'm going to stop fussing with that because it doesn't matter. The main thing that matters is that you use a non-breaking space to keep things together on a line where you want them together instead of a shift return. The forced line break. In general, it's a best practice to avoid extensive use of forced line breaks. Not a hard paragraph return, but what is achieved in InDesign by typing a shift return. This will also be preserved in the ebook and has the potential to wreak havoc on content. The forced line break will result in a BR tag in the middle of a paragraph, and there will be no, and it will be illogical, it will look funny, and it will interrupt the reading. So no matter the reading system, that BR tag will be there and it will have an impact. In general, avoid shift returns, use them only with intention, and be mindful that non-breaking spaces are the things that will get exported to EPUB, so use those also intentionally.